All right, guys, this story is a couple days old. Many of you may know about the story. Half of the nation, I think, knows about it, but some of you may not. And wasn't able to get to it until this morning, so I'm going to go over it with you really quickly. Now, the New York Times is where I got this story. Again, the link to the full story will be in the description box below if you want to go read the whole thing for yourself. I'm going to bring a short synopsis to you here right now. You remember the Trader Joe's hostage situation, right? The shootout at Trader Joe's in Los Angeles. And they're saying now that an officer's bullet killed the Trader Joe's employee in Los Angeles during the standoff. So she wasn't killed by the gunman, but rather a Los Angeles police bullet. So they said a Los Angeles police officer fired a bullet that fatally struck a Trader Joe's employee on Saturday. It was Saturday, during the start of a standoff between the police and a gunman that they had been pursuing. They announced this on Tuesday, which was yesterday. So the store employee, Melita Corrado, was hit when she ran to the front of the Trader Joe's shortly after 3 p.m., according to police. A man wanted by the police had just crashed a car into a telephone pole outside the store's entrance, and the driver of the car, Gene Evan Atkins, exchanged gunfire with two police officers as he entered the store and proceeded to take about 40 customers and employees hostage. Chief Michael Moore of the Los Angeles Police Department said on Tuesday. During this exchange, Mr. Atkins was struck in the left arm, Chief Moore said, but a bullet also hit Miss Corrado in the left arm. She then stumbled back into the store and collapsed. People inside the Trader Joe's later carried her outside the store, which is the Silver Lake neighborhood of Los Angeles. That's right, it was Silver Lake in East Los Angeles. She was treated by paramedics outside the store. The authorities have previously said she was pronounced dead at the scene. Chief Moore, at a news conference on Tuesday morning, was quoted as saying, "I'm sorry to report that we've now determined through our forensic investigation that one of the officer's rounds struck Miss Corrado as she was exiting the market and was in proximity to Atkins." He added, "I know that it is every officer's worst nightmare to harm an innocent bystander during a violent engagement. I spoke with both of the officers this morning. They are devastated." Now, the two police officers fired at least 8 shots at Mr. Atkins during the exchange. Chief Moore did not identify the officer whose bullet struck Miss Corrado, a 27-year-old assistant manager at the store. But Mr. Atkins fired at least 2 shots after he crashed the car and at least 3 more from within the store towards the outside, Chief Moore said. A spokeswoman for Trader Joe's said on Tuesday that we remain heartbroken over the tragic death of Melita Corrado and the trauma our crew members and customers have suffered. Meli was a valued and beloved crew member. Our sole focus remains on supporting her family and those involved in Saturday's horrible ordeal in Silver Lake. Now, the news has reported that Chief Moore said Miss Corrado was shot just as Mr. Atkins barricaded himself inside the store during a 3-hour standoff, which drew police officers in tactical gear to surround the store. Some employees and customers escaped on their own, including through windows on a second floor. Mr. Atkins later let others go after negotiations with the police. Mr. Atkins eventually surrendered to the police around 6:30 p.m., exiting the Trader Joe's after he had placed handcuffs on himself and with hostages by his side. And so this is a very tragic story, and this is one of those stories that supports what some people say when they say, don't call the police when you have an emergency because you may get injured or you may get shot. And this is one of those instances that kind of, corroborates that. And again, I'm not anti-police. I'm not. I'm pro-police. I'm pro-law enforcement because I believe that there are some law enforcement officers, regardless of what other people think or may think, that are really trying to make a difference in their community, and they're trying to do good. But then you've got bad cops that are making bad decisions and have bad behavior that just screws all of that up. You know what I mean? It's like one rotten apple starts to contaminate the whole barrel. It just makes everybody look bad. And I'm not saying that these officers were bad officers. I'm not saying that these cops are bad cops. They shot somebody or, it happens. But I don't think that it's excusable. I don't think that's justifiable. What I'm saying is you come up on a Trader Joe's, this guy runs into a store, Trader Joe's, you don't just start shooting into the store, even though the guy's shooting out at you. There, you have to understand there may be people, civilians, employees, customers inside of that store. And I understand I'm armchair quarterbacking, but I do have a little bit of law enforcement experience in my life. I know it's not extensive. I know I'm not a law enforcement veteran, but I have that little bit of law enforcement experience. And I'm just going to speak from that point of view that, as far as I understand, you don't just start shooting into a store to try to shoot the guy. You don't have a friggin' shootout, in the middle of the street. I mean, if they would have just stopped and held, he probably would have stopped shooting. You know why he was shooting back? Because they were shooting at him into the store. They were having a freaking shootout in front of Trader Joe's with employees inside. This is a tough one, man. But I'm not going to excuse the police officer for shooting this woman. It's inexcusable, as far, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. If anybody disagrees with me, I understand, but I can't excuse this behavior. You don't have a freaking shootout in a store with a bunch of people, innocent civilians inside. Well, it's collateral damage. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. News Now Ukaipa. A little bit of time and a lot of information, and I think I got it out, keeping you informed.